And it says we're live. Live on a Saturday in October. We have socks. Oh, all right. Is everybody excited?
Definitely. Yes. Very excited.
This is super exciting. It's a launch party. I did not get the little blowers out. But this has been a long time in the making, this book. So super excited to have everybody here. Just a quick little blurb to everybody that's joining us via the live streaming on YouTube. This Operation Sock Tour launch party is being hosted by the Zombie Knitting Network, or ZKN. Our mission is to promote joy, appreciation, education, and friendship in crafting. We have weekly chat and craft Zooms, as well as live events like this one that are recorded and available for replay for our members. We have a weekly live 20 to 30 minute Stockinette Zombies podcast. We watch movies together, we play games together, we have cast on parties, we show and share items via sessions like this, and also do tips and tricks sessions. So there's also a lively Discord chat group with KALs and giveaways where we show off, you can show off your latest FO, ask a question, or get enabled. Lots of enabling going on out there. Financial accessibility is super important to us. So we have a free option, and we also have $2, $5, and $10 a month tiers. So you can pay what you can to support the ZKN community. For me personally, ZKN is a great way to stay connected in these challenging times when many of the in-person events aren't occurring. So it's a wonderful community. Please join us. So happy to have everybody joining us here today. Yay! And I want to kick things off with the brain trust behind this whole thing. If it wasn't for us, we wouldn't, or if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. So we've got the Knitmore Girls, and would really like to hear about the Operation Sock Tour and really how the book came to be.
What's super exciting is that we started the hashtag Operation Sock Tour 2000. We're very precise people here at the Knitmore Girls podcast. We are. We like to focus on those things. So we started the hashtag because Susan B. Anderson had posted this unbelievably beautiful picture of her sock drawer on Instagram, and it was incredibly.
Describe it.
Okay, first of all, let me set the scene. Susan B. Anderson's photography, so it's all drool-worthy, inspiring, like lifestyle style photography, right? And she has this beautiful dark chest of drawers, and she had pulled out not one but three drawers of hand knit socks, and they were tiered like stairs. And I thought, that's what I need, a drawer full of hand knit socks.
And she had organized them in a rainbow.
Here's a fun fact that's completely unrelated. Did you know that people are finding that organizing their sock drawers by color and having cheerful socks is one of the things that's helping them cope during the pandemic?
Yeah.
I read it on the New York Times. I thought it was really interesting. I thought for a second that they were promoting our book, and I got really excited, but it was not about Operation Sock Drawer, which, you know, it would have been the perfect tie-in. Yeah. But anyway, so I remember getting the email while I was running copies for Genevieve's kindergarten teacher. And I was like, is this for real?
Yeah.
Is this a joke? They want to do a book about this, about socks? So we talked to the publisher and we said, this is what we're like, our ideas, this is who we are. And they said, terrific, we're going to put it through and suggest it. And then from there, you, the listeners, many listeners, submitted some incredible patterns, and we got to collaborate and help curate the comic book, which was really, really exciting. And from there, our publisher went out of business, and then the book got sold to a different publisher, and then got sold to a house. And I'm so excited that we are here. And it's not uncommon for a book date to be pushed back. So originally it should have been in March, like so many things, but now here we are, and we're going to be signing books at Hickleby's Monday, this Monday. I don't know what today is. Today is Saturday? Day after tomorrow, Monday.
Yeah.
And thank you. Sometimes I just forget because time is
very fluid right
it's
now.
very fluid.
Yes.
So
time is.
that's basically the book. Oh, and I'm so excited. We are going to use the official printer of the Knitmores to print out that amazing page that Megan and Amy pulled together, signatures from the designers. And I personally will be printing them out and sliding them in the books that we're signing at Hickleby's on Monday. So along with personalized autograph copies, we'll be putting that in everyone's books that pre-order. And I believe it is not too late to pre-order. I think you can do it even while we're there, depending on stuff, because I know they ordered more books than they had pre-orders for. Yep. So if people want to do that, they can. Thank you for doing that, by the way. It's such a cool idea.
It's like a yearbook. I think Amy was like, it looks like a yearbook page. I was like, it kind of is. There's some really fun sayings.
I love it.
I really like the always buy the extra skein by Nicole.
Exactly.
For all of you joining on Zoom or on live streaming on YouTube, the Operation Sock Drawer page on Stockinette Zombies now has this embedded, so you can print it and put it in your book and have as close to a signed copy. I don't think all of us would have gotten together anyway, let alone if there was a pandemic, right? And so super fun opportunity to have. Yeah.
Such a neat idea.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Super exciting.
I mean, that's pretty much it. It's all technical stuff from the editors. I will tell you, when I had our editing copy printed up physically at Kinko's, the woman looked at the page. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful. This is a knitting book. So the helper at Kinko's likes our book. That's our first review, technically.
Yeah, I've not gotten the copy of the book yet, and so I'm super excited to see it. But having that signature page was kind of the first opportunity to like really feel like it's real. So just a couple of logistics things about the book. There's 20 patterns in there, and I think we've got 13 of the 20 designers here today. And then there's many more signatures. Folks that weren't able to attend were also able to do the virtual book signing. So that's super fun. I know there's quite a few people in the ZKN that have mentioned that they buy books when they can get them signed. And so I was like, well, we can have a virtual book signing.
So cool.
Yes, so cool. And yeah, Jasmine,
what I love most about that, these are good ideas that can go forward. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. This is Zoom. Things like that are going to happen.
It's true. We'll probably also get a lot of dogs barking because we're in the backyard. Anyway, the thing is that I'm really appreciating about the pandemic is it's all these great ideas that we can hold on to moving forward. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, so a couple of questions that I'm going to ask everybody about tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little, obviously, show off your design from the book. And just kind of how you got into sock knitting, right? Like how you decided that sock knitting was something that you wanted to do. So Jasmine and Gigi, I'd love to hear how you decided to be involved in Operation Sock Drawer and knit socks and aspire to have a drawer full of socks. Yeah.
Why don't you start since you start?
How far back do I go?
Far back as you can remember.
So I knitted my pair of knee-highs when I was living in Germany for 5th grade, I think, under the tutelage of one of the family friends. And was thick red wool, and it got done. And then we moved, and there was nobody to tutor me in sock knitting. And years passed, and I was knitting through middle school and high school. under my desk during class in high school, and I got ribbed at my 25th reunion about that. And then I got married and I had children, and I went to Stitches one year,
Mm-hmm.
and this woman had these beautiful socks that were kind of zebra.
Are you thinking of Myra?
Yes.
This would be Myra from Fancy Image Yarns.
And there were zebra socks, and one was a pair of Apres Socks in rainbow. The white was rainbow.
Yes.
And I said, Jasmine needs to have these.
I was in middle school about that point.
And
That
she
that
was
pans
wearing a
out.
lot
Middle
of
schoolers need rainbow socks for sure. Yeah.
Birkenstocks.
Yeah.
And
This was early 90s when we wore socks with Birks.
My daughter still does. It's coming back. It's coming back.
Oh, excellent. Yes.
so that came with a pattern. Do you remember what the pattern was?
I feel like it was one of those,
Something?
yeah, it was one of those
Book.
booklets that they used to sell at the yarn shops
Mm.
in the before times.
So, and it was a whole booklet. And after I knitted the first pair of those rainbow socks, I still had yarn over, so I needed to knit
Another
the
pair.
rest of the yarn. And I got tired of flipping through pages. So I think the pertinent. Oh,
It's the original cut and paste.
yes, cut and pasted and then photocopied the whole thing, laminated it,
Mm-hmm.
and then stuck it in my knitting bag. And
Dragged it around everywhere.
the rest is history.
Well, no, and then
What happened then?
self-striping yarns came out.
Oh yeah.
And that would have been 1998 or 1999 because I was in high school. And I went to a Stitches event, one of them, when it was still in Oakland.
I dragged you.
No,
you
I
went
went.
by yourself.
I went.
You were driving then.
No, my boyfriend drove me because I wasn't driving then.
Okay.
And so I bought self-striping sock yarn, and I had no idea it was self-striping sock yarn. On my first pair of socks, let's rewind that. I bought a booklet, an American School of Needlecraft booklets, like one of the ones they have at my yarn shop. And I was 14 or 15 and extremely independent. And I was in my room and I had bought double point needles and I bought yarn, and I would come out and I would say, "Is this what this means to Mom?" And she would say, "Yes." And I was like, "No help, I'm doing this by myself." And I would go back to my room. And I did it. I did my first pair of socks that way. So I would run it by my mom, but I wouldn't let her help me. Like, "Is this correct? Yes. Okay." And that was my first pair of socks. And I used that pattern for ages. And then I ended up at Stitches and I bought the self-striping sock yarn. And from there, I had a sock with me all the time. I knit socks through the end of high school, and I knit so many socks in college. I could knock out a sock in 2 days in college for myself and a sock for Andrew in 4 days because I was knitting in class. And then Operation Socks hit, and I was like, "This is what I need. I need a drawer full of beautiful socks for myself." And I curated sock yarn, of course, which is the first and most important step in every knitting project, is buying yarn, which
Absolutely.
I am really good at.
Kind of hard to knit socks without yarn.
It's true, but it's amazing because you have the yarn and it's inspiring and beautiful on the ball, and then it's in your chest of drawers once it's finished, and it's something that you can actually wear. And I don't know if you're this way. Are you this way? Do you remember where you were working on projects or where you bought the yarn or any of that? So yeah, you've been knitting too long. I think that's it. Like, I bought sock yarn on my honeymoon. We went up to Fancy Image Yarns because we honeymooned up in Washington State. We went to Seattle. We were in Seattle and we drove out to, oh goodness.
Island?
Well, we did go to Bainbridge Island, but that was a different thing.
Oh.
No, she was up north in around like the logging areas, and I can't remember the name of the town. Shelton is where she was. And she had this, she's moved since. I think she's somewhere New Mexico-ish, Arizona-ish, somewhere warm.
That's a change of climate.
It's a very drastic change of climate. But she had this beautiful house that was like a cottage full of delicious yarn. It was the back area that was the yarn zone, but it was just like inspiring, beautiful, delicious. Almost at the end of the yarn I bought on my honeymoon years later. So yeah. And I had I used to carry a sock in my purse all the time.
Yep.
But now it's whatever I can carry and drag along with me that I'm excited about or need to finish. So
yeah, no,
that's about
I was noticing that too. My purse projects generally aren't getting as much love these days, as we're not going everywhere. So
it's true. It's true.
Plus, you don't really, I mean, you buy a skein of sock yarn and that's a project, right? Like you don't have to it's like already queued up. You don't have to plan. And I absolutely love that. So I agree that is a great deal of the allure for me as well. All right. Are you guys any other parting words? I don't know if you guys are going to have to jump off as folks are able to present and continue talking. People may ebb and flow, have to jump off. This is real life, as we all know, and might not be able to be on the Zoom the whole time. So, but I think we're ready to start looking at some of the fabulous sock designs in the book.
Something I wanted to point out before the designers jump in, if you don't mind.
Yep.
Is what I'm most about the book is that the sock patterns are interesting. They are inspiring. They make your fingers itch to work on these projects.
Absolutely.
Like you flip through the pages, and I'll tell you this, just from the draft, I was like, oh, so many things I want to make. And that's how a book should be. Mm-hmm. If you ask me, it should make you want to knit every pattern in the book. So for people who've listened to our reviews for all of these years, these are patterns that Mom and I have personally picked as stuff that we are excited about knitting.
Awesome.
I'm going to put us on mute just in case life happens.
Yes, no, that's fabulous. That was part of the allure for me to submit a design. To be honest, it was like, these are going to be patterns that you guys love, right? That they're going to be fun, and playful, and colorful, and maybe a little bit outside the box, and various design styles. And I appreciate your guys' reviews, and I'm like, they're going to pick things that they love, and that's going to be kind of like a stamp of awesomeness on the design. So super squeed when I got the notification that I was going to be included, and it's been a long journey. But actually going to be out there in the hands of the knitters. So I thank you both for your time and for bringing this book into being. So, all right, I'll jump in. I'll set the stage for the rest of the designers. I don't have a number in front of my name, but I'm Megan Williams, AKA Just Run It. I have a large number of sock designs out on Ravelry, which I'll paste in the links when I'm not chatting away here. For Socktober, I've got 30% off of all of my sock designs with the independently published, obviously if they're part of a book or another collaboration. But if they're available out on Ravelry, they're 30% off with the code Socktober. And my pattern that's in the book is called the Downhill Both Ways. It is a mirrored sock pattern from the toe up, and you can either choose to knit them in the same colors, or for the second one, you can flip it. They are toe up, and you end up working a bias section, a patterned bias section, an unbiased section, unbiasing section, and then there's an OMG heel here. Which is my mock gusset heel. You very quickly increase, and then you're doing a mock heel flap back and forth.
Andrew?
Do it again in the opposite direction. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was going to ask Andrew to bring me a cup of coffee. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Do you want me to mute you, Jasmine?
Yes,
I think you
please.
asked me to, and then I didn't. I'm sorry. And so yeah, I flipped the colors. I knit 3 here so that I could you could see. But the bias sections are short rows, and I super love that texture there. So the design inspiration for this, if you guys can believe it, I thought I was pretty funny as a young child, a very precocious young child, and I had heard people mention downhill both or uphill both ways, and I didn't understand that it was supposed to be pessimistic and hardship going all the directions and whatever. And so I flipped it. When I went to the swimming pool, which was a very hilly bike ride away from my house, I would get laughs from the folks in my life when I said, it's downhill both ways because they were rolling hills. I got to zoom down the hills as I was going to the pool, and people would laugh at me. And it wasn't until I was an adult that I realized that I was misusing the phrasing. And so I really think that these socks are downhill both ways. You've got some hills knit into the socks, but I think that the biasing and the texture portions really make them fly. So downhill both ways, super easy and fun sock pattern. Let's see, who's next? I am going to turn it over to Fiona.
Hi.
Hi, Fiona. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Sorry, I didn't do a really great job of introducing myself. Other than a little bit about you.
So yeah, I'm Fiona. My designer name though is Monroe Sisters 3 because I've got 2 wonderful sisters, and we're all knitters and we love other crafts as well, but we all like to work together on designing, and I'm sort of the main one that does the design work, but my sisters really help me out with a lot of the photography and input and stuff. So it's a really fun collaboration. But we're all sort of spread out. So we grew up on the west coast of Canada, but I now live in Scotland. So I'm in slightly rainy Aberdeen at the moment. And I've got a sister down in England in Surrey, and another sister out in Newfoundland on the east coast of Canada.
So fun.
Yeah, but I started knitting, I think 5, 6 years old when my grandmother taught me, and I've just been knitting ever since. But I didn't get into designing until, I guess now about 5 years ago, and just thought, well, why not? I love knitting, and I have ideas, so I'll just go for it. And so it just kind of took off from there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my patterns are available on Ravelry as well. And I do quite a lot of Fair Isle and like lace and stuff. And in particular, I started off with a lot of Fair Isle. So my sock pattern in the book is called Stained Glass. And hopefully you can kind of tell where that's ideas come from. And it's an ankle sock, because I wear quite a lot of ankle socks. I just find them quite practical. And the Fair Isle section is supposed to look like stained glass. So it's quite a variegated contrast, or like the blue is quite pretty on this, especially for the sample with purples, blues, and yellows. It is really fun to knit because each one is going to come out a bit different. The interesting thing, it's stranded Fair Isle, so this is it turned inside out. You can see that I've had to I'll hold both up at the same time. So you can see for the bottom part, you actually have to carry the other color along the back. So it makes it quite a little bit thicker, but it comes out really nice. So I think that's quite cool about this one.
Well, it would make a nice cushy sole, right?
Yes, that too. Yeah, so that's the advantage of carrying the yarn along the back. And this was actually my first sock pattern I ever designed. So yeah, I don't know. I started off with a lot of like sweaters and wraps and different things.
Mhm.
And then I just thought, I saw this submission call and I thought, oh, that sounds so cool. Why not? I'll do some socks. So yeah, and this is what I came up with, and I'm really pleased with how they came out.
Yeah, yeah. I'm always looking for patterns that look great with variegated. So that's a great one. So yeah. Anything else that you want to add? Do you have a favorite toe up or cuff down? What's
These
your
are
favorite pair of socks? Yeah.
top down. These are top down. I
Okay.
don't know why. It's just one of those, I think just naturally
Mhm.
what I tend towards.
Yep.
Yeah, top down.
I have a theory that it's generally the one that you were taught first, right?
And that totally is. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just how you think about socks for the rest of your knitting career. So thank you so much, Fiona. And I've copied and pasted links to go check out her other designs. So thank you for joining us.
Great. Thank
I
you.
love those stained glass. All right, Caitlin, you're up next.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
So I've been knitting for about 10 years. And it's funny because I have actually been using the Operation Sock Drawer hashtag for probably as long as a long time. Almost all of my socks I post, I use that hashtag. So that's really cool that the Knitmore Girls started it. And I didn't know that. So that's cool. So I knit my first pair of socks maybe about a year into learning how to knit. And it was a plain vanilla sock, top down, with the Eye of Partridge heel flap. And that was pretty much my go-to for the next 9 years. So I like just like a plain sock. I'm not too adventurous, but I saw this submission and I really just wanted to try. I haven't been designing so long, about 2 years. And my contribution is the ice cream socks.
So fun.
So they are an ice cream fair isle. So you have 3 flavors of melting ice cream, and the pattern is written top down with a short row heel. And so you can also choose to just do 1, 2, or 3 scoops of ice cream so that you can change your leg length of your sock. And it's just like a simple sort of slip stitch for the waffle cone. And that's, yeah.
That's so fun. That's so fun. Did you have to go out and explicitly find cone colors and chocolate colors, or was that just hiding in your stash?
My sample, I feel like my sample was like a very bright blue and a chocolate cone, if I remember correctly. And so this was the pairing that I got, and I just loved it. It's so, it looks delicious. It's so perfect. It's exactly what I was hoping for. With like the vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate. Like Neapolitan ice cream is a big hit in my house. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's my contribution, and I'm excited to be a part of this.
Thank you so much for joining us, Caitlin.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, those are so fun. We have a lot of comments in the Zoom. Folks are saying, had me at ice cream, love these, super cute.
Yeah.
I need to knit these.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope everybody likes them.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna go with Natalia next.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi everyone. I'm Natalia from Fiber Creative. I started to knit like around 4 or 5 years ago. When I was small, my grandma tried to teach me how to knit, but I usually started to cast on. Was my favorite thing to do, and then I unravel and cast on again. Unravel and cast on again. So I didn't have enough patience to probably knit the second or third row. So, but like 4 or 5 years ago, when I moved to Netherlands, my husband presented me like huge ball of yarn, the very thick one that you have to knit with needles like 20 millimeters or something like this, like very thick ones. And in half an hour, I had a hat. So I thought, apparently it's quite fast and fun. So I started to try other yarns, other techniques and stuff like this. And here we are, I'm knitting and trying to create new designs, and always try to learn some new techniques or new stitches or constructions. So for me, it's always, I have to find something that I didn't use before or techniques that I'm not familiar with to like interpret or apply in my design. So there is always something to learn and to study. So it's like my main, how to say, philosophy in knitting. Always learn something new. Yeah, so my contribution is, I don't know, I can show like this. Probably it's not the best way to show these socks. It's the best way to, of course, to wear them, but it's socks with intarsia technique that form the shape of heart. I will try to use my hands to show better the idea.
Yep, sock puppets, always the best.
Yeah. Like this.
Aww, so great.
Yeah, the idea came actually quite before I heard about this submission call. My parents had 45 years marriage anniversary, and I knit for them 2 pairs of socks, so in bluish colors for my mother and in red color for my mother. So 2 pairs of socks with these hearts, and I presented them for their anniversary. And then in the end of the year, I think it was September or something like this, the submission call I saw on Ravelry, and I decided to apply. Why not?
Yeah.
I sent this idea, and they were accepted. Actually, I was very upset that the design was delayed, because I also wanted to present my parents the book with the sock design inspired by their like story.
Yep.
But yeah, the book they had to wait for 2 years, but I think my mother will finally receive her copy.
Yeah. Yes, there's a little bit of, if you can hold it up, there's a little bit of texture on the toe there as well, right?
Yeah, it's like, I'm a huge fan of geometry and lines, and almost all my designs has twisted or slipped stitches or twists. It's, I mean, you can recognize my designs. Yeah, here they are.
It is in the book. Yep.
Yeah, you can recognize basically my designs with half twisted ribbing or twists or something like this. It's my one of my favorite techniques. And of course, intarsia. I have similar design that uses also intarsia for gloves. And I decided to play small bit more with this technique, and this design came out. Yeah.
All right. When I spotlight on here, it looks like unless you talk, it's not showing up over.
Okay. I unmuted so that you could see it.
There we go.
I'm probably not allowed to do this, but if nobody tells, we're fine, right?
That looks spiral bound and very large.
But I thought if you want me to put for people's stuff, I can do that.
Okay, sounds great.
Isn't that gorgeous?
It is. Okay. It's beautiful.
And I also have a small discount on my patterns, sock patterns till 15th, I think 15th of October. It's 20% discount with October promo code. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. There we go. It's like you weren't highlighted. You were talking. I was trying to find you. I'd already unnumbered you. Thank you, Natalia. Those are beautiful. I am so excited about knitting those. I have some people that I love dearly that I plan on gifting those to.
I really hope that people will knit for themselves and for their better halves.
Yep.
Yeah, so it will be sort of family pairs of socks.
Absolutely. All right, I apparently don't have a number 4, but I do have a number 5. My numbering went awry. Emily, how are you?
Good. Yeah, so I've been knitting for about 13 years, and mostly I have done a lot of accessories and toys are kind of what I started out doing. And I had made a few pairs of socks, but didn't really love it for a long time. But then there was this call, and there were a few other calls for sock designs kind of around the same time. So I decided to go ahead and give it a try. And I kind of like them now. So I don't know. I thought they took forever before, but it doesn't seem like they take as long. I don't know if I'm a faster knitter or I don't know what it was, but I like socks now. So this is my pattern for the book. It's called Gentle Drizzle. It kind of looks like little drops of rain coming down.
I will say something.
Yep, here, I'll add you to the spotlight.
Oh, perfect. Yep, there they are. And it's most of it is ribbing, but there's some little details of cables in there. So if you're interested in cabling, but you don't want to do like a whole entire sock of just cabling, then this is like kind of a nice in between, I feel like. So yeah, and they're top down with eye of partridge heel, gusset, and rounded toe. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so you said that you've just recently gotten into knitting socks. Is top down your jam?
I've done both, but I tend to do top down. I don't know. I like them both either way. Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you so much for showing us your socks. I really love that drizzle pattern. I think you nailed it as far as the inspiration. I think even if you had held those up for me and said, what do you think this was inspired by? Maybe wouldn't have gotten it as fast as I got the waffle cone.
Right.
But I totally see it. Those look like raindrops. So
thank you.
Yes, super, super lovely.
Thanks.
All right, Nicole, let's replace. There we go. Hello, Nicole. Are you on mute? Can't hear you, Nicole. Uh-oh, maybe we'll have to try somebody else. Let's see if I can click on you and say unmute. Nothing like causing, nope, I can't.
No?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay. I'm Nicole. I've been knitting. My grandmother first taught me when I was a little kid, but I also kind of stuck with casting on, and that was about it for a while until my mom taught me again about 20 years ago when I was a preteen, tween-ish. I didn't really knit socks for a long time because it seemed like a lot of work for something that was going to be hidden in shoes. But then my college roommate bought me needles. She'd like gone through my little needle roll and was looking for what I might be missing. And for Christmas that year gave me DPNs, size 0 all the way up to 15. And she's like, are they something? I don't know what they are, but it was like this big roll of them. And she hands it to me and like, yes, they're double pointed needles. I have no idea what to do with them. So I went home and my mother showed me how to use them. And it's socks. I think I started off with baby socks because they were like this big, but had the whole heel and turned heel and full toe. And most of the socks I knit are using the self-striping yarn of some sort, and they're just vanilla socks to knit in the dark or in the car, things like that. So my pattern is called Love Needs a Heart. It has these little tiny heart-shaped cables. I have partridge heel. They're knit toe up. Fun little thing.
They are really stunning.
Were the first socks that I actually completed toe up. I had knit maybe one toe up sock before, so I kind of learned as I was designing these. They're knit really small to get that much detail into it, so it's like a finer weight yarn and really small needles. And one of the fun things about them, every size has a different number of hearts across the foot. and spacing between them and number of stitches on the top of the foot versus the bottom. So it's not one of those that you can just grab the chart and ignore the directions. You have to actually see where the increases are, or you'll end up with too many stitches by the time you get to the heel. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and so you've said you've been converted over to a sock knitter?
Yeah, I knit. Oh gosh, at this point, I started off with the Operation Sock Drawer. I guess that's maybe about when I started knitting a lot of socks. When I started watching podcasts and listening to podcasts on knitting and buying way too much sock yarn.
No such thing.
I don't know. Haven't collapsed the house yet, but we'll see. I probably have
Insulation at this point,
50
right?
or 60 pair of socks, maybe. I had started off with this cute little train case that I was folding them up and setting them up. And at this point, I probably need to get a steamer trunk if I'm ever going to actually complete them. But, I'm also, I have a hard time finishing projects. I had started, what was it, 30 a day in May that one year, and or no, 30 in May, one a day in May. I don't remember exactly what the hashtag was for that. Yeah, I've got a lot of projects on the needles, so a good portion of them are socks at various stages.
Yeah, so I went out and bought, I don't have a sock drawer. I have ornament holders that I've converted to putting the socks in. Yeah, and I have like 3 of those filled, in addition to socks that I've knit for other people. And I'm like, how many pairs of socks do I think I need? They last a long time, those knitted socks. But thank you so much, Nicole. Your design is beautiful. It's beautiful. Yep. All right, next up we have Mary, Keno Knits.
Hi, can y'all hear me?
I can.
Can y'all hear me? Okay, great. All right, so yes, my name is Mary Hull, and I design and I have an audio podcast under Keno Knits. Started knitting, gosh, I don't know how long ago, but I taught myself from a library book. And shortly after that, I got like this rip-off free page from a big box store, like in the yarn aisle. And it was just a basic pair of socks. It was top down, plain knitting, heel flap and gusset, turn a heel. And it took me all weekend to turn the heel because one of the decreases was like slip one, knit one, PSSO. And I thought that the abbreviation PSSO in itself contained the knit one or slip one, knit one. So I was doing slip one, knit one, slip one, knit one, PSSO, my heel to one side, cursing and ripping, and then just doing that all weekend. And so eventually I figured it out. Ever since then, even though it's been years, a freaking superhero every time I turn a heel. So not surprisingly, my socks are top down, heel flap and gusset with a turned heel, although I have designed socks that are toe up as well. And if you go to the Keno Knits or kenoknits.com, my socks are 20% off for the month of October with the code SOCKTOBER. So let me talk about these socks. These are my socks. These are called the Meta Socks. One of the things I really like to do in my designs is a lot of flexible knitting, a lot of wide range of sizes, and I want to make really efficient use of your yarn and really efficient use of your stash. So these are the Meta Socks. They're socks made up of other socks, and these are just leftover scraps. This is the one that I initially knit for the proposal with black yarn, and every single stripe is different. You're only knitting with one color at a time, so you don't have to do any, stranded color work management. But for the book, we went with a gray color because it was easier to photograph, and each color actually repeats twice. But I look at these and I think, all right, that's a sock design. That's one of my mitten designs. That's, socks I knit for my mother-in-law. This is a shawl. This is things from swaps, things from, samples that people give out. And I just thought it was a really cool way to add up, you know, a lot of your different past projects in one. What would be really cool is if you knit the entire book and then used your leftovers for this. So I love that idea
I think
so
that's
much.
about all
I have to say about that. Any questions?
Oh, and Jasmine's holding
Thank
up.
you.
Let me
Thank you.
talk again, Jasmine.
I love that idea so much.
Mm-hmm.
Also thinking it's a great use for those very tempting itsy bitsy teeny weeny mini skein sets that are so tempting and you never know what to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, each stripe used about 4 yards. So really, if you only have the teeniest, tiniest bit, you can get one of these stripes out of it. Mom just pointed out that if you subscribe to an advent calendar or one of those things where they just send you a little bit, this is also a really great use for those.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And we're coming upon that season. So thank you, Mary. Those are so much fun. When those got added onto Ravelry, I was like, oh, I love those.
Thank you, Megan. And thanks for organizing all of this.
Yeah, no problem. All right, one of the 2 number 8s. Oh, oops, I clicked on somebody out of, sorry. It's changing. Let's see if I can get one of the 2 number 8s spotlighted. Cheryl.
Hello. Can you hear me? Can I just say I've been having so much fun listening to everybody that I'm knitting a gusset and I forgot to decrease half of it, so I've had to rip it back. But yes, I made the review socks for this book, which are the lace on the front. It's like a Japanese lace pattern. And then it's plain on the back because I kind of needed a bit of a break from the Japanese lace. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're top down, heel flapping gusset with an eye partridge heel. And yeah, it's kind of hard to see in this yarn. So I found my original swatch, which might show the pattern a little bit better.
All right, I'm going to briefly unspotlight you so that we can see what Jasmine's holding up. And Cheryl, can you pronounce that for me again? I'm one of those English speakers that has a tongue that cannot pronounce.
Oh God, my French is not good. I think it's revue. Gosh, I don't know. It's from the
according to Mom.
It's from the book The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, I think. Mm-hmm. Where fans of the circus would wear something red to kind of distinguish themselves to each other. And yeah, that's where it's from.
Mm-hmm. And tell me a little bit about yourself. I'm sorry. When did you start knitting? And have you been a sock knitter all along?
I was taught when I was really little, when I was about 6, from a family friend. And I actually forgot that I even knew how to knit until I was at university and decided that it would be a great way of procrastinating. Mm-hmm. And then when I started again, it kind of clicked. And then when I was doing my exams, it was another great idea to start knitting socks or teach myself to knit socks because it was a way to not study. And I think the first pattern I ever knit was called Queen of Cups. It was a nifty design. Mm-hmm. And I think I only ever knit one. I still have it somewhere, but I never finished the pair. But yeah, I kind of never stopped after that.
Absolutely. I have linked out to your other patterns. And thank you so much. I think that's a great, beautiful Japanese lace is so pretty. And to put that on the top of a sock, so pretty.
Thank you.
So thank you, Cheryl. All right.
My friend Natalia Apple actually designed the Queen of Cups pattern.
And Natalia is the inspiration for your recent hairdo, right?
My shearing, yeah. She's got cancer, and so I shaved my head in solidarity.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Beautiful. All right, Felicia, you were my second number 8.
Thank you so much. So happy to be here. This is so cool to see everybody knitting in the background. Thank you so much for hosting this, Megan. And
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I have to thank you guys, the Knitmore Girls, for choosing this pattern. Oh, I should first introduce myself. Okay, so I am Felicia Lowe from Sweet Georgia Yarns. We're a hand dyeing yarn company based in Vancouver in Canada. And I have been blogging about knitting since 2004. The company started in 2005, 15 years ago, but I've been knitting since I was in elementary school. So it's been a while, but I didn't knit socks until sort of my mid-20s. So I am very, very excited to be able to share these socks. And thank you so much for picking this pattern submission, because I know that they're a little bit wacky, but you guys have fulfilled my fantasy of making these socks. So the socks are called Apres Socks. And so the idea is that it's meant for sort of like an après ski sort of thing. I got into skiing and snowboarding when I was sort of in my late 20s. I feel like I really missed out when I was younger. And so I really love it. And there's a fantasy in my mind of, you know, skiing all day and then coming back to the cabin, sitting next to the fireplace with your cup of hot chocolate or your beer, and you're just sitting there, you're wrapped up and you're cozy. And in my fantasy, these are the kind of socks that you would wear for that. So they're kind of like house socks. They're meant to be sort of thicker socks. They're knit out of worsted weight yarn, so that's probably a little bit unusual in terms of the rest of the socks in the book. But these are worsted weight, so they're thicker, and they're designed to be kind of like, you know, like when you are skiing or snowboarding, you get these ski socks that they fit really, really snug around the arch of your foot. So there's like a little bit of elastic that pulls it in and cinches it in around the arch of your foot. They do tend to be thicker, and then they tend to go up to your knee in order to protect your whole leg and all that kind of stuff. And so I love those kind of socks so much that I wear those socks all winter long, even if I'm not skiing. I just like the socks. So part of that is what I tried to work up into this design, this idea. There's an eye of partridge section here in the arch of the foot, which is supposed to snug up around your arch so that it feels really cozy. They are knit from the toe up. So it's just very simple toe up. This is Tough Love sock that we have. It's a merino and nylon blend, but it's held double in order to match the weight of the worsted weight yarn here. And then it's knit with an afterthought heel. So basically I just put in a little bit of scrap yarn here, and then I take out the scrap yarn afterwards and then knit this heel again with that Tough Love sock held double. And then this leg portion is 2-color brioche knit with, you know, one of the solid, semi-solid worsted, and then one with kind of like a speckly, splashy sort of worsted colorway. So it's something just really fun, because one of the first things that I ever knit when I was a kid learning how to knit was I knit leg warmers. This was mid 80s. And I knit these, they just stick out so clearly in my mind, these leg warmers. And so this is kind of like a combination of the leg warmers and then the snug is in the foot. And I have no idea if these will fit. They probably won't fit in shoes. They're pretty thick, but they're meant to be like wear around the house, in your pajamas, you know, with your beverage of choice. That's what these are. So thank you so much for letting me actually put these together.
That is such a mood, right? Like, oh yeah, no, I'm already, I can hear the fire crackling now. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to mention before I 100% forget, but we are also doing Socktober for Sweet Georgia. So we have a coupon code Socktober 30. It's Socktober with a K, and that gets you 30% off fingering weight yarns in our shop right now until October 13th. So that's one thing. The other thing I forgot to mention is also that anybody who's watching or listening who hasn't actually ever knit a pair of socks before, we just came out with a class on the School of Sweet Georgia, which is schoolofsweetgeorgia.com, and it's teaching people how to knit top-down socks, like from the very beginning, and knitting with whatever yarn you have. So if you have worsted weight or DK weight, whatever leftover weight, you can knit a gauge swatch and then figure all that out. So in case anybody's like inspired by all of this but doesn't know how to do it, there's that. And I also did record some tutorials for Afterthought Heel and Kitchener Stitch and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, so those are going to come out eventually too.
That is such a great resource, Felicia, and I really, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. And again, that's all linked out on that same page that we were asking folks to go, the sale yarn into your shop, the coupon code. So hopefully that's a good resource for folks that are engrossed in what people are saying and maybe not taking notes as well. But beautiful socks. Every single one of these, I'm like, I'm gonna cast that one off.
Yeah,
That's how I felt
all
when we
the
were
socks
picking
are
the
so-
patterns for the book.
Yeah, all the socks are so interesting. It's such a cool curation of ideas. It's great. Thank you.
And yep. Oh, here. Well, I'll unpin you, Felicia, and we'll get Jasmine holding up unpin. There you go. Look at those. Aren't those fun?
It was exactly the leg warmer aspect that made me fall in love with these, and Mom too.
Fantastic. To be a fly on the wall to see how many. So Jasmine, do you remember how many submissions you got to get down to
I
the
don't.
20? Okay.
I honestly, I don't remember. Not everything made the cut because we could only have so many in the book, right? But the submissions we got were so good. And Mom and I, when we compared our notes, because we looked at them independently, there were a lot of ones that we both liked, but the Apres Socks were the ones that my mom really liked. And it was because of the leg warmer piece. So, because she's been talking about making knee socks to keep her, because we wear boot cut jeans. Because we live in California. So you can wear worst weight socks with your clogs and still have warm calves, or combat boots if you're a Doc Martens kind of person.
Yeah.
So, which I happen to be. So these are so exciting.
Excellent.
This is so much fun.
Yes. Thank you for holding them up too. I mean, that is like it's like the comically large check that they present to people when they win the sweepstakes, right? Like you're like, and in the Slack sweepstakes. Yeah.
So much.
Yes,
exactly.
All right. Next up, we have Sabrina. Hello, Sabrina.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Greetings from Switzerland. I'm currently on a road trip, so I haven't prepared myself that much. So I haven't brought my socks. Maybe I'm allowed to show you later a screenshot or share a screen with me. I'm Sabrina Schumacher. I work under donnarossa.ch. I design lots of patterns with shawls and hats. And actually, the pattern I designed is my very first sock pattern. I can quickly show you where I get my inspirations from, because I'm a paraglider. This is actually Lake Wallensee. And on the left hand of this lake, there are the Kurfürsten. So that's the mountain range where I got the inspiration of my socks. So there are, on the left side, there are the peaks. And I think it depends how you count the peaks. There are 7 peaks, and those peaks formed the idea for my sock pattern. It's called Kurfürsten. And I can show you maybe, this is the swatch I sent in for submission. It's all triangles, so I'm really obsessed with triangles, all patterned and triangle, or I try to incorporate in my designs the number 3. And so this is the sketch of my sock design, and I did not only texture it in triangles, I wanted to design also the heel as a triangle. So it's really the back of this sock. It's really the surprise of everything. So this is then the picture of the sock itself.
Pretty.
Yeah. So that's my that's my sock design.
I love that. I love that. And so it was inspired by your view as a paraglider. Yes. How many people can say that?
Yes, all my patterns are inspired by places I know through kite surfing or paragliding, and it's also how I call my patterns like that.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us. What time is it in Switzerland right now, Sabrina?
Right now it's 9 p.m. and I'm really getting hungry, so probably I'll leave earlier if you don't mind, because I'm at my friend's house and they're cooking fresh pasta with some fungi, some mushrooms, and I'm really looking forward to get some dinner.
That sounds fantastic. Beautiful, beautiful back of the sock there. That is really the surprise. I think I looked at the pattern page out on Ravelry, and I don't know that I flipped through and saw that really cool line in the back. Very cool.
Yes,
This is my
the heel is really surprising.
favorite shot of your socks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sabrina.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. Next up, we have Ethan. Hello, Ethan.
Hello. I'm Ethan. This is Alex, my husband, who also knits. Hello. It's
So
very
fun.
common that people will find out that one of us knits and say, "Oh, the other person is very lucky," and it's like, no, they knit for themselves. I don't know.
Okay, so inquiring minds want to know, sharing a stash?
No.
You share needles, but not yarn.
There's like negotiations, but no, absolutely not. I've been knitting since since like high school. And Cheryl, the thing you said about procrastinating in college, very much, I think is the thing that launched me into knitting like a lot and really getting into the sort of culture that's around it. I also did once have a pair of socks I used to get me through my work. There was a particular book I had to read where I thought none of the characters were likable. It was just a miserable experience, and I hated all of them. And so I had figured out how to sit like cross-legged and hold the book open. And so I had a specific pair of socks that I've named after that book that were just, it's the only way I got through that book. Knitting has gotten me through so much. But the bananas thing that I submitted, there's a thing, and Jasmine has talked about it on the podcast before. There's this thing in the middle of War and Peace where there's a character who she has a special technique known only to her, where she knits one sock inside the other.
Yeah.
And then when she's done, she'll gather all the children around and dramatically pull them apart. And so I've done a lot of double knitting. So that's basically what these are. So it's the same, it's yarn that matches, but to make it easier, you start in two different places on each skein, because this particular one was a set of two. But top down, there's ribbing at the top, and so it's pretty simple because you're to double knit. Basically, with the ribbing, you double knit with both knits and purls, and then you take the purls and put them in intermittently for the thermal part of the rest of the sock. So it just gives you the ability to do the double knit version of a sock, but have it be a little more interesting than it might normally be otherwise. And then about halfway through it's an afterthought heel, so you set that aside, and then you do the heel about halfway through the foot, so that at the end, when you have everything finished, the whole thing is done, and you can dramatically pull.
Voila! Voila! So fun. Wow. And so that is a self-striping? Oh.
Yep.
Those aren't do DIY, do it yourself. That would be a lot to be doing at one time.
That would be way too much.
I bought yarn for this when you did the submission, but I was like, this has to be in the book.
Triumphant thermals, and so that was your triumphant pull apart. Is the
Yep. Yeah, I think double knitting is something I really love, and I try to, some of my patterns use that, and I want it to feel more approachable to people, and so I wanted to make a version of this kind of goofy Tolstoy thing that actually feels approachable, hopefully. So
awesome. Yeah, double knitting is definitely on my to-do list. I just bought my friend Jesse's Colorwork Bible book that that has a bunch of color work techniques in it. And yeah, I wanna learn how to do that. I wanna have a triumphant moment. Awesome.
Do you think these are more approachable than Russian literature?
I certainly read Tolstoy. I'll be honest, I have not read that book yet.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ethan. All right, next up we have Becky. Hello, Becky.
Hi. So I started knitting when I was in my early 20s, just before my third son was born, because you know, when you have 3 boys, you have lots of time for knitting. And yeah. And I don't know, I think maybe 3 years later, I started knitting my first sock, and I bought some Regia and the stealth striping stuff, and had to give it a shot, and I had that, you know, that moment of what, when I turned the heel and got it finished, and that was pretty cool. And for a while, I just knit some plain socks, and in fact, the first pattern sock I ever knit, I thought, why would I ever do this again? Because it's so much more work. And now I think on Ravelry, I have probably over 200 pairs of socks knit, and I don't do boring socks usually, other than my vanilla socks. Other than my vanilla socks for meeting knitting and car knitting and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact, my first published knitting pattern on Ravelry was for the Knitmore Girls preemie hat contest. So that was really fun. And I'm a dork, and I did not bring my finished socks with me, but
I got you, Becky.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I can't find them. They're somewhere in one of my closets, and I can't find them. But the original idea I had was to use, like Mary did, all my leftover sock yarn for each row of socks, which is kind of tricky to do for for a book. And of course, this Zauber ball is awesome, and I love the socks. So that's what I ended up with. Top down, heel flap, you know, like most of us. I can knit toe up, but I don't like to because they never fit me right. So they usually end up going
fun.
So when I do toe up socks, I try to, because I don't want to be afraid of my socks. So I do try and knit toe up socks, and they usually end up a little too big. So then they just go to my mom or my sister.
Got it. And so these are color work, right? Stranded color work. Yep. And I was trying to look at the picture while she was holding them up. Did the socks point different directions? Or
yeah, every other row.
Got it. So you could start in a different place and have them kind of mirrored on the socks if you wanted.
You could.
Fun. So fun. Thank you so much for joining us, Becky. That is, those are such fun socks.
Thanks.
Yes. All right. I think we may be nearing the end of the folks that are here. Hello. I love your sign, Lisa.
Thanks. So, hey, everyone. Thank you so much to Megan for doing this. My name is Lisa Ross, Paper Daisy. I know a lot of you ZK folks, and I know you've heard me talk about socks before. So I wanted to I was trying to think of stuff I haven't said yet. I have only been knitting about 6 years, but became really crazy obsessed with it. A lot of people know that about me. But about 12 months into knitting, I decided to knit the Row sweater, which is a Brooklyn tweed pattern, and it is a giant cabled coat. And I knit it all out of Brooklyn tweed shelter yarn. And what they recommend is that you actually seam it together with sock yarn, not use shelter to do that, which if any of you have worked with a worsted spun yarn, it kind of comes apart pretty easily. So you want to seam it with something stronger. And at that point, I was not a sock knitter. I went out and bought this beautiful skein of matching yarn to match this coat and so that I could seam, which didn't use a ton of yarn. And then I felt so guilty that I'd spent all this money on this sock yarn and needed something to do with it. And I was like, well, I guess I will give socks another try. And I knit the Torrent pattern by Tin Can Knits, which is just this really beautiful lace pattern up the instep of the sock. I just looked it up. There's only 161 projects of it. So it's like one of their probably least knit patterns, but it is like, it converted me. I was like, this is amazing, using these teeny tiny needles and creating this beautiful lace. I fell in love. And then I became crazy obsessed with sock knitting. I checked out every book from the library. I tried toe up, I tried top down, I tried fish lips kiss heel, I tried I the partridge heel, I tried OMG heel. Megan, you were one of my first heels.
Yay.
And I have since knit hundreds of socks. So I was super excited to submit to this book. I had a hard time narrowing down exactly what I wanted to do. One of the things about me is that I am very inspired by the yarn that I use. And so when I was thinking of this design, I had this yarn in mind. I bought yarn specifically to swatch for this design and actually haven't even knit a second sock. So what I did, the yarn that I used is, this is a self-striping Luna Pearl yarns, and then it's just paired with a black cascade. And the thing is, I am not an artist. I can't draw things, but I can knit them. And so for me, it's much quicker to just knit an entire sock rather than try to draw what I'm thinking. And I really wanted a sock that looked good from every angle, something really special that was super fun to knit. And so I don't know if you can tell here, but with this high contrast, you can see the back is the inverse of the front. And then the heel, the gusset is right here, and you get this like diamond shaped gusset that comes together in a point. And you really get a feel for the contrast. Now, it was chosen for the book, which is amazing. But these colors, I don't think are Interweave's colors. So Jasmine's holding up the version, and I can show you, I have this other version. So it's a lower contrast in some of the colors. But
it just photographs better with the lighter color.
Yeah, I was really nervous when I was knitting them, just because I gravitate towards high contrast. Anyone who knows me knows I do. But when I saw them photographed, I thought, okay, they know what they're talking about. So this is Fab Funky Fibers, which is one of my absolute favorite self-striping dyers. It's our Fallen Leaves colorway, which, oh my goodness, the colors, the yellows, the greens, the purples, they're all so perfect for this time of year. And just paired with that silvery gray, it makes for such a fun pair of socks. So if you're into stranded knitting, I highly recommend giving these a go. They are definitely a more advanced knitting technique, but they're so much fun. And I'm going to throw out there one more thing. Every April and October, I put out a sock collection inspired by works of fiction. So right now I have a collection inspired by the witches in the Harry Potter series called Socks of Witchcraft. Right now I've got Ginny. I don't know if you can see them. They're cabled. Okay, the light is going to be terrible, but they're cabled along the sides and down the heel. I've got Luna, which is the fraternal twin pair of socks. So this one's called Magically Enchanting. I've got Hermione, which is a really uniquely constructed sock. Hers is called Cleverly Practical. And then this one is Fleur. It's Beautifully Strong. So, and those are, you can purchase the collection for 50% off through the end of October for those.
Yes. And then there's a new one coming out a week. Is that right? Every week?
Yes. Yeah. So right now there are two that are out. The Ginny socks and the Fleur socks. These two have been released. Next week will be Hermione, and the final week is Luna.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I know we at the ZKN just wrapped up a 2-month knit along of your everlasting socks. Yes, super fun. And I think, yeah, they are a great gateway into these ones.
Yeah, they definitely are. So I decided that doing that color work gusset on the bottom of the heel is kind of going to be my trademark for color work socks. I think this was the first pair. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was the first pair that I designed with that. And then I loved it so much, and I used it in several other designs, but it's a really fun way to add in an extra little design detail with the socks.
I'm just adding people in, as I don't know how many I can do. I'm wondering if
Lisa, what's the shawl that's behind you? I'm trying to find it in your Ravelry.
Oh, it's not out yet. It's coming out in November.
Oh.
Sorry. I actually had my mystery wrap hanging there and realized I got to take that down. That has not yet been revealed.
Awesome. All right, I'm just doing computer work here on adding folks to the spotlight. Slowly but surely. It makes me so happy to look up and see so many hands knitting. It makes me feel like I'm back in where you could have a knit group. All right, we've got Nicole up, or do we? I don't know if I can add any more people to the spotlight. I think that's all that I can add, maybe. Is that all that remains? Cheryl's up. Everybody's muted as well. Lisa's up. I just wanted to thank everybody again. I think we've made it through all the designers. If you're a designer and you have not gotten to talk about your socks, please speak now or forever hold your peace. I think I caught everybody. Hearing nothing.
In that case, can I take a sec?
Sure.
I'm so excited to be sharing this book, and I was so honored to see so many people, especially me, because I didn't think this is something that could ever happen. And Mom is always 100% chill about everything. But so excited this. So thank everyone who's done their pre-order through Hickleby's. Hickleby's is our local bookstore. They specialize in children's books, but they also can order anything. I basically just order all my books through them now, and they are super nice people. At least 2 of them are knitters that I know of, and I'm really excited. Every single piece of this is exciting. Going over the book again with the designers, like, we were excited when we picked it, but it's been sitting on the shelf for a few months just waiting, because we can't work on projects if we can't show them, right? And going through the book again has really got me excited.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, having ideas of what we're going to bring forward now.
Absolutely. We did have
so here's a super unofficial cover, which is not the cover that it has.
Is it a galley copy?
It was our editing copy.
Okay.
We have had a few questions, and people can chime in either on YouTube or via the Zoom chat here. But they said, is there going to be an Operation Sock Drawer 2 and 3?
Let Penguin Random House know if you would like to see that, or if you want to see Project Sweater Chest book. That would also be amazing.
Pat asked if there is
Wouldn't
an
that be great?
ebook. I do believe that, I don't know that you can get an ebook through Hicklebees, but I do believe that that's an option on Amazon to get the ebook.
I do know that Hicklebees is mailing them internationally, but I don't know about ebooks.
Yep, yep. There's a Kindle.
I would assume
edition.
so. You can get almost anything as an ebook.
Yep, yep. There's a Kindle edition out on Amazon. I just looked. Yep, yep. All righty. If folks don't have questions or comments that they want to chime in with, I want to again thank everybody for joining us. It has been a fun journey to get to this point, and having you all here to celebrate this has made it feel that much more real to me. Again, putting together this sheet of the autographs really hammered home to me just the amount of work that went into it. You know, everybody's contribution to the book is making it what it is, and made me a little teary-eyed and emotional that we've gotten to this point. The book is being released on October 20th. And as Jasmine mentioned, we've got a link out to get a signed by Jasmine and Gigi book from Hicklebees. And you've got the next 24 hours to grab and print out your sheet of autographs. So thank you everybody for joining, and knit some socks and have warm feet.
If you order your yarn now, you'll have yarn for the book when it shows up at your house.
You're a master enabler.
Just a thought.
Jasmine, yeah.
It
All
is
right.
what I'm best at. It's my superpower.
Thank you all.